So somebody was asking on one of the off-grid forums about what is the real realities of running a farm, because when you're looking on social media, it's always the best of everything, right? And everything's always perfect and it's sunshine and roses and happiness. But moving to a farm is not for sissies, as they say in the classics. So I thought I would give you some raw, no holds barred, truth behind the scenes version of when it's not so great, what happens. Okay, so let's just start at the top. I'm winging it. I read the post a couple of minutes ago, so I'm just going to wing this. Right, number one is finances. If you think farms are cheap, think again. So, I know of one person one couple who tried to do it like really, really cheap, but they still on somebody else's land. The bottom line is somebody somewhere is paying for something. So whether you are renting land or buying your own land, there are landowners who are paying for that land. Land is not cheap. Developing the land is not cheap. So Little Big Tree Farm has cost us about 2 million, I would say probably 2 million rand, somewhere around that ballpark. And I remember distinctly many years ago, before I got anywhere near a farm, probably at least 7 to 10 years ago now, long ago. And I had one of the permaculture people come and do a talk at my house once. Anyway, and when she was telling me about her farm and her land, she told me then that it cost her 2 million rand to buy and to set up. And I thought at the time, this is impossible. I'm never going to be able to afford that. That's impossible. It's a game for the rich people, and if I had that kind of money, then I wouldn't need to bother to get a farm and blah, 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 blah. So all the digging, wallowing in self-pity sort of a thing. And yet here I am 10 years later on a farm that has cost 2 million rand. How I didn't magically inherit 2 million rand, but just the way that things have transpired over the years and the months has allowed me to get into this lifestyle. So the point of that is, don't give up just because of a financial thing. You have to set your intention on what it is that you want, first of all. And you have to be really super clear on that. Write this down to the minutest detail. And then it's not really our jobs to figure out where the money's going to come from. That's the universe's problem. It's your job to figure out what it is that you want, and to define it with such clarity and feel it with such confidence and such conviction that it becomes a reality for you eventually. The money will come from somewhere out of magic. I don't know how it works. We're not meant to know how it works. It just does. It helped with me because I then met my husband. We both had houses to sell. I run my own business. He gets bonuses. So between the two of us, we managed to get this farm sorted out. We managed to buy it. We bought the land for 830,000 rand, which we bought cash, borrowing a little bit. And then when my house sold, we paid the rest of that off, and we are living debt-free, and we are off-grid. So the house and the farm is not finished. It will never be finished. But we have been here for 2 years and 5 months now, and we are living the dream. So yeah, from a money perspective, also you need to have quite a lot of money saved. When we moved here, I had 100,000 rand cash, and that was a godsend. It really, really was. I don't really know how we would have gotten through the first 6 months if it wasn't for that cash lump sum. You also need disposable money in case of emergencies. Stuff breaks, so stuff goes wrong. And I also remember very clearly way back when I was thinking about this farm thing and wanting to get out to the farm, and I couldn't figure out in my head. I'm like, but if you pay for everything, because in my head I was doing maths, right? If I sell my house, I can buy the land for this amount, and This is before my husband came along. And I thought, well, once I've bought the land and I've bought all my toys, what else do I need money for? Then I can bring my salary down, and I can take all the pressure off, and it's all going to be perfect. And yeah. You get to the farm and everything starts breaking. So although we paid for everything cash and we are debt free, the ongoing maintenance of the farm is where your costs really come in. You want to change tires on your tractor, that's flipping like 5 grand a tire sort of a thing. We get a lightning strike, 50 grand, there goes your inverters and all that type of a thing. Booster pumps break, borehole pumps break. Anything that's got electronics in it is a gigantic pain in the ass. These electronics things and all the booster pumps are full of little electronic little keypad things on them. And the thing is that you have to have them, because if you're on the solar, you can't just get a normal booster pump that doesn't regulate the pressure, because it puts too much strain on your solar array. So it's the things that they don't tell you in the brochure, Also, like water, for example. So while our borehole yield is 25 to 30,000 liters an hour, which is fantastic, and the borehole people reckon we will never run out of water, not in our generation, future generations. It's a massive, massive underground lake. That 25,000 liters of water translates at the end of the day into far less, because now you've got to get it through your booster pumps, and you've got to get it through the filters. And now, having a booster pump is one thing, but the minute you put it through your filter system, it drops the pressure significantly, absolutely, by I don't even know what the measurement is it bars? I don't know. So, we're probably only getting a couple of thousand liters an hour yield now, but that's because of the filter system. And there's no ways that I'm going to put or bypass the filter system for anything. So all of our irrigation, all of our water on the entire farm, whether it goes to gardens, cottages, houses, wherever, anywhere, anything, every single bit goes through the filter system. We have a lot of manganese in the water, so it gets, and what else did we have in there that wasn't so great? We had a lot of turbidity, so the water comes out like brownie. And I'm not having that going on into my vegetables and into my ponds and to my animals and that type of thing. So you have to have the filters in there. But then that drops the water pressure. These things all cost money, of course. So let's see what else. From an equipment perspective, tractors. You have to have a tractor on the farm. Okay, you have to have one. So we bought a foal yappy, because everybody buys a foal yappy. It was dirt cheap. We bought it for like 20 or 30 grand or something like that. It was made from 1960 somewhere. And the minute we got it onto the farm, it was in perfect working order when Buffy went to go fetch it. The minute it got to the farm, it stopped and it didn't start again. So we spent another, 10 or 20,000 rand trying to get that thing working. But that's just because they're old, got a golf cart, my sister bought me a golf cart, that's all great. But the minute the batteries tank, it's 15,000 rand to replace all those batteries, so that's where we are now. Fencing, you want to put up fencing? Our fencing around our house perimeter, that cost me 100,000 rand. So keeping in mind, that's about 1.5 hectares around the house. And then we've got perimeter fencing around the whole 21 hectares. So that was cool, because the house fencing was a complete disaster area. We hired somebody that had no clue what he was doing, and also then connected an electric fence, which we didn't actually need, and then didn't ground it. And we were here a couple of weeks, and we had a lightning strike. It blew the entire array, blew the booster pump, the inverter. It blew up everything. So we took that system out. So now we just got the fencing, but that still has set us back a good 250,000 rand for both of those fences. We've got Bonix fencing, and we just got the lines that you string up, so we don't block ourselves out of the bush. But that stuff is expensive. The water filtration, getting the borehole in. So, sinking your borehole is one thing, but then you still got to get the water from the borehole to the house, and then into the house. So if you're going to go and build your own buildings there, you need to go and plan for all of that. That took months for us. Months. We were hauling water for months still. Going to the neighbors and hauling water up and down, and in flipping tanks and on all jerry cans and all kinds of things like that. So yeah, the first time we had water was wonderful. And then you also got to plan then for your sewage and your grey water. So originally we had composting toilets, and we had those for 18 months, which was all my idea. I was all on this, save the planet thing, and we're going to save so much water every single year by having composting toilets, and it's the right thing to do. And all you elitist city people with your water flushing things, you're just wasting water, and this is the way of the future. Oh my God, what a disaster! If I never see a composting toilet again in my life, it is going to be too soon, honestly. So we did it there's a crowd in America, what is those homesteaders called? So we modeled it off their system. I'll try and think what it was called. But basically the bottom line is, it's terrible. I hated it. There was flies on my ass the whole time. That was the thing that really freaked me out the most. All these bloody little flies, these baby flies that kept on coming to sit on my ass because you cannot keep them out of the composting toilet. You have to. So we had like a wooden box with a bucket inside and a lid. You have to seal that lid properly, or those little flies get in there, and you can put sawdust in as much as you like. They still somehow get in there. Cleaning those things, I did it once with my husband, and afterwards I never did it again. It's like, it was just too terrible for words, honestly. And then, of course, your sawdust supply, because you're supposed to now in composting toilets, put scoops of sawdust into this thing. You can stake your life on it that sawdust is going to run out exactly when you don't need it to run out. It's going to be the middle of the night. It's going to be in the middle of a Saturday evening somewhere, or a Sunday evening when you cannot possibly get a new stock of anywhere else. And then what now? So that composting toilet story was, and then, this is, it's very personal, but it's still a fact of life. There's a lot of women that are on Little Big Tree Farm, a lot of women in my sort of age group, and there's, like periods is a thing, hey? And then, you get diarrhea and the runs and periods, and if you pick up a stomach bug, and you're doing all of that into a bucket that's full of lemon compost, and if the bucket is this deep, and then your compost is this far from the top, and now suddenly you get periods and diarrhea and vomiting and whatever, anything like that, or any kind of those combinations at once, that is a extremely extremely unpleasant experience. This is not great. So there's a lot of people that swear by composting toilets, and and I'm not going to knock this, and each to their own, and I understand completely from an ecological perspective why people are doing it, but just for me on a personal level, it's just never going to happen again. Never. And when my husband put flush toilets in for me, we put in a double septic tank system, and then the rest kind of just goes out as a French drain. The first time I flushed that toilet inside the house after 18 months, I genuinely just cried. I stood there and I sobbed, and I just kept on flushing the toilet, and I sobbed, and I just, it's just a toilet, and I just howled. I promise you have no idea the luxury that it is just to be able to flush a toilet when you've had composting toilets for 18 months. So that's a hard no from me. Absolute hard no. I can understand it when you're on top of a mountain and you can't get equipment out there. That's all very well and fine. It's fine if you are staying somewhere for a weekend and it's novelty and it's all cute and it's exciting, or if you're still busy building and you go do a long drop somewhere. So if it's on a temporary kind of basis, that's fine. But for me, long term, show me the flushing toilets. That's me. I'm done. Not interested. Okay, so that's the money, the infrastructure, relationships. So your relationship will be tested to the nth degree. You are going to fight about everything, absolutely everything. You are going to disagree on everything. If you don't communicate properly, and I'm sure it's probably like when they say if your marriage is not lacquer and then you have a baby to kind of make it better, that doesn't necessarily fix things. I think, the same is kind of the true when you have a farm. Your farm is your baby. If your relationship is not stable for whatever reason, and you think buying a farm is going to fix it, you are sorely mistaken. The image or the vision that you have in your head versus your partner's head is not the same thing. And neither of you can read minds. And if you are not good at communicating, you are going to fight like cat and dog. And Buffy and I were no exception. I've been single a long time in my life. Buffy was basically with people his whole life. So it was very hard for me to just, make that switch into a very stable, long-term sort of relationship, which I'm not kind of like used to. And because of that, because I've had to take care of myself my whole life, I am extremely independent, extremely. I'm a very go-getter. I've been running my own business for 14 years. I've been living on my own forever. If I need something done, I pick up a phone, I pay for it, it's done. I don't have to ask questions. I don't have to negotiate on anything, how I want anything done. So now, being in a relationship, and Buffy and I have been together about 4 years, I don't know, I've lost count, whatever. We've been married 6 months. We've been on the farm together for 2.5 years, but that whole journey was very challenging because we fought all the time. I remember, I stood here once, I said, that's it, I'm leaving, I'm done. You can just have it, I don't care, I'm just done, And luckily he had the sense to go, come on, Veronique, really, we've come this far now you want to throw in the towel, don't be an idiot, So communication is absolutely key in a relationship. And if you're in a bad mood, it's not easy to communicate. We all know that, but the way that he wants the house done, versus the way that I want it done, is not the same thing. The logic that is in a man's head versus the logic in a woman's head is a completely different thing. And this is stuff that nobody ever discusses. And I'm sure, because it's such a personal thing, you don't want to like air dirty laundry and all that type of thing. But it is a huge strain on your relationship. And if you don't have the not the methods, if you don't have the I don't know, the will, I don't even know what the word is. If you don't have the desire to fix it and to come to a happy medium between the two of you, I don't think it's going to end very well. We were luckily both, when we came here, we both had this vision that this is what we want to do. This is where we want to go. We're going to go to the farm. We're going to get off the grid. We are going to live sustainable lives. But there are certainly relationships where one party doesn't want to do that. One party might hate the outdoors and the other party might love the outdoors. I don't even know how you would resolve that. I think that would be very challenging. I think, you just kind of have to live your dream. And if the other person doesn't want to go, look, I'm not a marriage counselor, so I can't help you with that. But you have to live your dreams. That's all there is to it, as far as I'm concerned. This is a very fulfilling lifestyle. It's amazing. Right. So what else? What else can go wrong here? I was really worried about pets when we moved here. At the time I had 2 dogs and 3 cats. We've now got 3 dogs and 3 cats. And I was really worried about the cats at the time. I was terrified that the jackals were going to eat them. So we didn't have fences up for months and months and months. So these cats, cats just do what cats do. They run off into the bush and you just don't see them again. Every sunset, goodbye, I'm going to go play now, lekker, have a lekker day. And they only stroll back in here at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, whenever they want to. So every sunset, every single night for months, we walk around here and call them and call them and call them. And we try to cat-proof the house. We try to build cat-proof enclosures for them, which they escape from in exactly 0.01 milliseconds. Turns out that it wasn't even an issue in the slightest. Cats are extremely savvy, the dogs even more so. They adapted to this bushveld living far quicker than what we did. Far, far, far quicker. So it really wasn't an issue. They know where home is, they know where their food is, and they come back. They go out there, explore, they have a good time, and then they just come home. So it really wasn't a big deal. The biggest thing that I have the challenge with currently is trying to balance my day job with my farm job. So I've been running my own business for 14 years. I have a company called Let's Collaborate, and I'm in IT, so we build intranets for companies. So I have a full-on corporate job. Buffy has a full-on corporate job. He commutes. I work from the farm. So while I was living in the city, this wasn't an issue, because in city living, everything is convenience land, right? So you pick up the phone, everything gets delivered. You are 2 minutes away from any kind of shop, garage. You can't go 100 meters without running into some sort of shopping center / garage of any kind. Everybody's right next to you. Everything's at your fingertips. It's not a big deal. On the farm, that is a very different thing. Also in the city, you've got staff at your fingertips and they walk straight up to your gate. It's lots of transport everywhere, but that's not like that on the farm. So we don't have a domestic worker. I do have 2 farm laborers now, or I call them my farm maintenance men. So they do gardens and help with maintenance and that type of thing. But in the house, we don't have a domestic worker. So that means it's on me, because Buffy commutes. So most of the domestic stuff falls on my shoulders. So now it's a case of being the maid and running the farm, the gardens, because I'm in charge of gardens and all that type of thing too, and feeding all the animals, and then doing a day job. Now this is proving to be very challenging for me. I'm tired a lot. I'm tired for different reasons. I was tired in the city too, but it's not the same kind of tiredness. I'm tired of more physical tired than mentally and spiritually tired. In the city, I was very mentally and spiritually exhausted all the time. Here, I'm more physically tired, which is a much nicer tired, actually. It's not as stressful, I don't think, But trying to get everything done is not easy. It's really and truly not easy. So, Buffy's alarm goes off at 5. If I've had a good night's sleep, I am up by 5 and I'm out that door, and I do stuff on the farm till like 9ish, 10ish in summer. Then it just gets too hot. In winter, I don't leave the house. I hibernate, and that's me. But in summer, I'm out there really, really early and doing what has to be done. So then that means, that by the time I sit down on my laptop at, let's say, 10 o'clock in the morning, I've already done between 4 and 6 hours worth of work on the farm by the time I set up my laptop now to do my day job. So I'm already tired, and now I'm still do, my 5 to 6 hours a day on my laptop. And then the afternoon shift kicks in now with feeding animals and all the rest of the type of thing again. So that I have been finding quite challenging to kind of settle into as a day jobber, ex-city slicker, and now a farm slicker. So I've got a foot in two worlds, and I can't leave that IT world yet. It's pays for all the bills, and say with Buffy, we can't just walk out of our jobs. Well, we can, but we're not going to. We're not going to put that kind of financial pressure on ourselves. But it does mean managing that time is not easy. I haven't found a way around that yet. Buffy commutes, and so now it's a 2-hour commute every day, and then he'll come back in the afternoon, and then he will start working on doing stuff around the farm on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. I don't see him. So also apart from trying to balance your time from a relationship perspective, you don't actually see much of each other. We see each other for dinner, and then, we're all on Facebook and all the usual social media crap, So that quality time doesn't actually happen that much. There's a lot to do on the farm. Now, I'm sure it would be a different story if you had an army's worth of staff to take care of everything for you. Then it would be a whole lot easier. It certainly has made a massive difference to me to have my two staff here in the garden, because I did everything by myself in the beginning. It's not that I cannot do it. I can do it. I don't need to do as much of that anymore now, because my two guys now take care of business for me, which has made a big difference. I can kind of ramp up, my production of my food forest and all that type of thing. So, just moving to a farm from the city is a massive culture shock. Massive culture shock. I still don't even think I haven't completely settled yet, and it's probably 2.5 years. I've still got some of that city mentality, and that city mentality is everything. It's instant gratification. It's now, it must happen now. And nature doesn't work like that. The farm does not work like that. The farm will decide what it needs. Nature will decide what it needs. Everything grows when it feels like it, because it's at these slow rhythms of nature, which is how we're supposed to be living. So this whole also, from the city, everything is like this aggression thing all the time, and and everybody's angry in a rush, and it's exhausting. And it's not like that here. So then when you come here, you kind of like hyper about everything. Then you go to war with everybody, because how can you do that, and you can't do it like this, and you can't do it like that, and you're pointing fingers all over the show. And it takes months, years sometimes, for you to just relax and calm down and just breathe a little bit, because we've all got WhatsApp groups in our respective areas, and I don't do bullies well. I don't deal with bullies at all. In fact, I cannot stand bullies. So there was a lot of bullying going on, and because I won't just sit back and shut up, I will put fuel on that fire, and I will fight the good fight, and now, fast forward a couple of years, when I see the stuff on the groups, 90% of the time I'll just let it go. I just don't care anymore. So, whatever, it's fine. If you want to be a dick fan, if you want to be a bully fan, I don't care. If it's like cruelty to animals or something like that, or something that's really bad, I'm going to step up. But generally, I just kind of like, whatever, it's fine. Let people do what they want to do, But it took me a while to do that, because I'm a very much get involved, go getter sort of person. I'm not a sit on the sidelines and we'll see how it turns out kind of person. I'm the person who's going to get up. I'm going to make it happen. I live my dreams. If you say, oh, let's go to Alaska, I'm like, right, I'm packed, let's go. I'm going to go today, now. It's that instant gratification thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's a toss-up between instant gratification and like that go-getter thing. I don't know. So yeah, change of lifestyle is pretty significant for you to just unwind from that city thing, and then just learn to just go with the flow. And let me think, what else? Just you got to be your own government. So you got to manage your own water, you got to manage your own electricity, your own sewage, your own grey water, all that type of thing. Nobody's going to do that for you. And that's just a learning curve thing. I put in a grey water system here. It's a 4-pond system, which didn't work basically for 2 years. And it took us at least 2 months to set that thing up. It was a gigantic pain in the ass. I kept on getting the levels wrong, and then I didn't put the stones in the actual ponds themselves properly. But anyway, so the idea is that it comes through the house first, then it goes through like a filtration pond, and then it goes through as it goes through each of the ponds, it kind of cleans the water so that by the time it gets to pond number 4, that water is clean, and it's supposed to just lie there then where it can then become like a wetland sort of area, which has never worked until probably about a month or so ago. And then out of the blue, it has been dry as a bone down there for 2 years. Out of the blue, last month, there was suddenly water there. And I am mystified as to explain how or why that is suddenly possible. The water still doesn't smell all that great, so the filtration isn't working quite lacquer, but I think, it's just got a bit clogged up now, so we just got to clean those grey water ponds out. So there are easier ways of doing that. I wouldn't do it like that again. I think I totally overcomplicated it. Water, so we've got 5 water tanks, 5,000 litre water tanks, and I constantly ran out of water because it's very easy to to leave a hose pipe on overnight and forget about it completely. And then because we're on solar, then I also wake up with no electricity and no water, because leaving the hose pipe on leaves the booster pump on all night, which runs the battery down. So you've got to kind of like learn to manage your energies and your infrastructure. So that's taken a bit of practice. But now what we've done with our water is, out of the 5 tanks, we've isolated 1 as an emergency backup, so it's on its own pipes and all that type of thing. So we work from these 4, and then should these 4 run dry for whatever reason, and I don't know, if something just goes wrong somewhere, we can then flip the switch, and then we've got our 5,000 litres available, which is enough time to get us through the day or a couple of days until the tanks get refilled again. On solar, if you have 2 full cloudy days, you're going to have no power. So you can, buy more and more batteries, but it's expensive. Our solar array has cost us 250,000 Rand already. And so you got to learn to manage that. Generators, if you think you're going to run your farm from a generator, you have got another thing coming. They are not designed to just run indefinitely. There are short-term solutions. The generators in this country do not survive running for days at a time at all. They will blow out very, very quickly. So when we had our lightning strike here in the first 6 months that we were here, and it blew the whole system up, we ran our brand new 8 kilowatt generator, 8 kilowatts, which we tried to run for a week. Within 3 days, that thing had blown up basically. It couldn't cope with the load, and it was just over. So now, managing your power when you're off grid is something that you've got to learn to do, and you've got to actively manage. You have to buy all your appliances must be AAA plus. If it's going to be cloudy days like it is today, you need to make sure that your fridges and everything that are going to be switched off, or at least turned down to lighten the load on your capacity. Like I said, you could buy more batteries, but at 21,000 Rand per battery, you can't just like walk out the door and quickly go whip up another battery. These things are not cheap. And then, oh yes, the final thing I think for now, while I can think of all these things, is when I moved to the farm, I thought, oh, this is great, because I'm going to get so lovely and thin, because you're going to get so much activity. I'm going to be so svelte and sexy and gorgeous. And in the first few months, it was exactly that. And we worked our asses off. I have never worked so hard in my entire life. I have never been so sunburnt in my whole life. So yes, the weight was dropping off me like crazy. It was fantastic. And then I got involved with the community here. And if you live in South Africa, the Boere. The Boere are a problem, because the Boere can cook unlike anybody on the planet. So now we've got these homemade ice creams and homemade breads and cakes and sauces and jams and desserts and cook sisters and what? Pasta salads and potato salads and you name it. These Boere vroue and Boere women are going to be the death of me. So I'm just whoop, blown out like a blowfish. And then got menopause on top of it, so I blew up even more. So I have gotten to that point now of, you know what, I don't care. I don't care. I can't fight it anymore. I can't. I just wear everything that's got elastics in it. That's it. I'm just going to be done with it, because the food here is so amazing. I cannot possibly go to a bra and not eat all these amazing things that these flippin' unbelievable women make all day long. You know, they're just, they're next level, man. I just need to channel all the stuff that these girls can make, you know. They really are. They just got this innate natural ability to whip up amazing food, savory, sweet, whatever, you know. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. So yes, definitely get involved with your community, but its downside is you're going to get fat. So fat. Especially if you've now gotten to that point that you're now hiring staff to do all your garden work like I used to do. So, you know, now it hasn't balanced out so lekker. So now I've got 2 gardeners, you know, which means I've got far less exercise, but now I've got far more girls that I'm friends with in the neighborhood who cook everything. So, you know, those scales are not, they're not doing that. They're now, it's fine. My husband loves me just the way that I am, and that's that. Okay, cool. I think that's all for now. I will try and think. Let's talk about safety for a second. So, on all the forums, you know, the first thing that comes up is, are you going to be safe? You're going to get murdered. There's farm murders, blah, 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 blah. I have a fundamental belief that safety begins in your mind, and you will create your own universe. This is a proven scientific fact. This is not something that I'm thumb sucking out of my head. This is absolute fact. What you think about, you attract. What you talk about, you attract. No exceptions whatsoever. If you are constantly watching the news and listening to death and destruction and murder and rapes and attacks and all that crap, you are going to attract that shit into your life. Switch it off. You have to change the record in your head first and foremost. If you want to go anywhere, and if you're still planning on getting out into the farm, start now. Start working on your mindset about how is it that you want to live. Do you believe fundamentally, first of all, that the world is a safe place or a hostile place? Think about that and answer immediately. So if I say to you, is the world friendly or hostile? Answer right now. For me, the world is friendly. It's not even a question. I believe that the world is friendly. I believe that the universe has got my back, that I'm safe, I am protected, that I will always be safe. It doesn't matter where I am. That is my core, unshakable, unwavering belief in my world. And so it is. You know, I live a completely free life. I'll always have for years and years and years and years, even in the city. I mean, I lived in Joburg for 17 years. I had 2 incidents, of which both were before I kind of started to get this mindset right, you know. So when you're looking at moving to a farm, you've got to try and leave those fears at home, because if you drag those fears with you, they are going to come back to haunt you all over again. There is nowhere on earth that you can run from your own fears. You can move to anywhere on the planet. It doesn't matter. Whatever's in your mind is going to follow you right there. So this is your first thing to do if you're going to be moving to a farm, is sort out the record in your head. Are you safe? Are you secure? Are you abundant? Are you prosperous? You know, are you loved? Are you contented? You know, all those things. It's all those fundamentals of stuff that really, really matters. And that's what you need to program yourself to think. And it's a scientific fact as well that your brain doesn't understand the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So if I picture myself sitting on a beach in Bora Bora, or actually go and get on a plane and go sit on the beach in Bora Bora, according to my brain, it's the same thing. It doesn't understand the difference. If I just look at that picture, or if I fly there, it's going, you were there, full stop. So I learn to understand how the law of attraction works and start cleaning up your mindset. You need to catch yourself thinking about these fear-based thoughts, because be under no illusion, they are programmed into you 70 times a day across every single medium you can possibly imagine. You are manipulated to be terrified and lived in fear all the time. And it takes a massive act of will, first of all, just to understand that you're being manipulated. So to stop and look around you and go, hang on a second, that's them doing it again. That's them trying to program me to be afraid and to accept control. No. You are the most powerful thing on the planet. Not some government, not some rich arsehole trying to depopulate us. None of that crap. You can create worlds. You can create your world. And don't let anybody tell you anything different. You have to change the voice in your head to be more positive, and I am always safe. The universe has got my back. Things are always working out for me. I live a charmed life. Everything is coming to me exactly when I need it. Come up with sentences like this. And when you hear yourself thinking negative things, stop yourself and go, no. I'm not thinking that anymore. Stop. I'm always safe. I'm always safe. I'm always safe. So this takes some time to kind of get around, because we've got these old habits that we've been dragging around for decades. So it does take some practice, but the more you practice, the more perfect it becomes. A thought, what's the saying, is that a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. So if you want to believe something different, think something different, say something different. Be aware of your thoughts and start changing that pattern so that you can live the life of your dreams. So I will be doing more of that in my other channel called Let Humanity Rise. And I hope that was very helpful to you today. I will go through some of the other questions that I saw in that off-grid forum, and I will do some more videos for you. But that is my 10 cents worth for today. Right, back to work for me. Goodbye.